The Witches by Roald Dahl, Chapter 12, Metamorphosis. I remember thinking to myself, there's no escape for me now. Even if I make a run for it and manage to dodge the lot of them, I still won't get out because the doors are chained and locked. I'm finished. I'm done for. Oh, Grandma, what are they going to do to me? I looked around and I saw a hideous, painted and powdered witch's face staring down at me. And the face opened its mouth and yelled triumphantly. "It's here! It's behind the screen! Come and get it!" The witch reached out a gloved hand and grabbed me by the hair. But I twisted free and jumped away. I ran. Oh, how I ran. The sheer terror of all of it put wings on my feet. I flew around the outside of the great ballroom, and not one of them had a chance of catching me. As I came level with the doors, I paused and tried to open them, but the big chain was on them and they didn't even rattle. The witches were not bothering to chase me. They simply stood there in small groups, watching me, and knowing for certain that there was no way I could escape. Several of them were holding onto their noses with gloved fingers, and there were cries of, "Pooh! What a stink! We can't stand this much longer." "Catch it, you idiots!" screamed the Grand High Witch. From up on the platform, "Spread out a line across the room and close in on it and grab it. Corner this filthy little gumboil and seize it and bring it here." The witches spread out as they were told. They advanced towards me, some from one end, some from the other, and some came down the middle between the rows of empty chairs. They were bound to get me now. They had me cornered. From sheer and absolute terror, I began to scream. "Help!" I screamed, turning my head towards the doors in the hope that somebody outside might hear me. "Help! Help! Help!" "Get it!" shouted the Grand High Witch. "Grab a hold of it! Stop it yelling!" They rushed at me then. About 5 of them grabbed me by the arms and legs and lifted me clear off the ground. I went on screaming, but one of them clapped a gloved hand over my mouth, and that stopped me. "Bring it here," shouted the Grand High Witch. "Bring the spying little worm up here to me." I was carried down to the platform, with my arms and legs held tight by many hands. As I lay there, suspended in air, facing the ceiling, I saw the Grand High Witch standing over me, grinning at me in the most horrible way. She held up the small blue bottle of mouse maker, and she said, "Now, for a little medicine. Hold his nose and make him open his mouth." Strong fingers pinched my nose. I kept my mouth closed tight and held my breath. But I couldn't do it for long. My chest was burning. I opened my mouth to get one quick breath of air. As I did so, the Grand High Witch poured the entire contents of the little bottle down my throat. Oh, the pain and the fire. It felt as though a kettleful of boiling water had been poured into my mouth. My throat was going up in flames. Then, very quickly, the frightful burning, searing, scorching feeling started spreading down into my chest and into my tummy and on into my arms and legs and all over my body. I screamed. I screamed and screamed, but once again, the gloved hand was clapped over my lips. The next thing I felt was my skin beginning to tighten. How else can I describe it? It was quite literally a tightening and a shrinking of the skin all over my body from the top of my head to the tips of my fingers to the ends of my toes. I felt as though I was a balloon and somebody was twisting the top of the balloon and twisting and twisting. The balloon was getting smaller and smaller and the skin was getting tighter and tighter, and soon it was going to burst. Then the squeezing began. This time I was inside a suit of iron and somebody was turning a screw. And with each turn, the screw of the iron suit, with each turn, it became smaller and smaller, so that I was squeezed like an orange into a pulpy mess, with the juice running out of my sides. After that, there was a fierce prickling sensation all over my skin, or what was left of my skin, as though tiny needles were forcing their way out through the surface of the skin from the inside. And this, I realize now, was the growing of the mouse fur. Far away in the distance, I heard the voice of the Grand High Witch yelling, 500 doses! This stinking little carbuncle has had 500 doses of the alarm clock, and the alarm clock has been smashed, and now we are having instantaneous transformation. I heard clapping and cheering, and I remember thinking, I am not myself any longer. I've gone clear out of my own skin. I noticed that the floor was only an inch from my nose. I noticed also a pair of little furry front paws resting on the floor. I was able to move those paws. They were mine. At that moment, I realized that I was not a little boy any longer. I was a mouse. Now for the mouse trap, I heard the Grand High Witch yelling. I've got it right here, and here's a piece of cheese. But I wasn't going to wait for that. I was off, across the platform like a streak of lightning. I was astonished at my speed. I leapt over Witch's feet right and left, and in no time at all, I was down the steps and onto the floor of the ballroom itself, and skittering off among the rows of chairs. What I especially liked was the fact that I made no sound at all as far as I could tell. I was a swift and silent mover, and quite amazingly, the pain had all gone now. I was feeling quite remarkably well. It is not a bad thing after all, I thought to myself, to be tiny as well as speedy when there's a bunch of dangerous females after your blood. I selected the back leg of a chair and squeezed up against it and kept very still. In the distance, the Grand High Witch was shouting, Leave the little stinkpot alone. It's not worth bothering about. He's only a mouse now. Somebody else will catch it. Let us get out of here. The meeting is over. Unlock the doors above and shove off to the Sunshine Terrace. We'll have tea with the idiot manager.